If you watch this video from start to finish, you'll learn exactly how to write perfect cold emails that get open, read, and responses with a 7 to 10% booking rate guaranteed. And if you know anything about sales whatsoever, you know that's absolutely insane. If you don't know me yet, my name is Patrick Spielman, founder at Upticks, an all-in-one sales outreach platform. Now, let's dive into the video and let me teach you how to book more meetings, writing the perfect cold emails. Okay, so today you're going to learn how to ethically seduce your prospects into opening, reading, replying, and force them into booking a meeting. All right, now when I say force, I mean make it really irresistible to not book a meeting with you, okay? But I have a warning. Use this content for good, please, not evil. Obviously, everything we do, we want to make sure is on the up and up, and I expect all of you guys to do the same thing. Now, before I get into the content, couple prerequisites, okay? So in order to get 7 to 10% booking rates, it's no joke, right? So you got to do a few other things really well, which I have other content on, but watch this video first, and then I have some links in the description, but you need to make sure you're rock solid on email deliverability, okay? That's the number one thing that you can do. I've got separate videos on that. You're rock solid on your list building, and you're rock solid on your overall strategy for launching this. Now, what I'm going to focus on today is going to be really on personalized cold emails, how to write, perfect personalized cold emails, one-to-one emails for what's called the A list. All right. And if you watch some of my other content, you know what that means, but these are your highest value prospects. Okay. The secret sauce to writing the perfect cold emails for your A list, which are your highest value prospects, and you're doing human outreach, is three things. It's personalization. Okay, personalizing, I'll get into more detail on that. It's relevance to the prospect, and it's intent. And the big thing with all of these is that each one stacked one on top of the other, which are all of these are slightly different. Personalization is a little different than relevance, than intent, so on and so forth. So if we can stack, and I'm going to show you how to do this in the video, if we can stack personalization, stack relevance, stack intent all on top of each other, those all snowball into getting the best booking rates you can possibly get. Okay. So with our A list, as a reminder, if you've seen some of my past content, it's for our highest value prospects. And what we're going to do is we're going to write human personalized emails. Yes, this is going to take effort. You can't just set it up and forget it on total autopilot. That is a topic for another day. So keep an eye out, subscribe to the channel. And actually, I think my next one or two videos is going to be on the topic of fully like automated or more automated. This is personalized. So we're writing human personalized emails. We're customizing and write personalized subject lines on the basis of what's called a custom intro line. This is custom research based on the prospect or the company that we're going to insert into our emails that's going to help you get the best booking rates you possibly can. But from there, once we do all the work on that first email, our follow-ups are completely automated. Okay. And with any strategy, we always want to make sure we're A/B testing. All right. Let's get into what is personalization. As you can see next down here, I'm going to actually get into emails and show you how to write these. But first, we got to cover some basics. Personalization. You need to understand that we're way past merge fields, like just inserting a first name or inserting their company name. Cold email is getting harder and harder, right? For a lot of different reasons we don't need to go into, but we got to do more than just using merge fields. All right. We have to show the prospect that we've put in effort. And if we do this, off the bat, we can 5x our results, and you'll be better than 99% of the other cold emailers out there. Okay. What that's going to require, though, it's going to require research on the person and or the company. All right. And for our emails, there's a lot of different email frameworks out there. I'm going to show you a timeless one that will work tried and true forever, so you don't have to worry about learning new strategies over and over again. So we're going to open our emails with a personalization. We're going to introduce a problem that we know our prospects have, our solution, and we're going to have a call to action. Okay, it's that simple. So here's what this looks like. Here's a personalized email, and this is an example for, if let's say you're prospecting me and you're selling business funding. Okay, you should definitely have, you of course should know some information about me. And with this level of personalization and outreach, you can actually fairly automate some of this. You could find out that Upticks is bootstrapped, for instance, right? So the biggest thing, and I'm going to hop actually to the personalization first, because we always write our subject line on the basis of that personalization. When I say inserting like an intro line or a personalization, it's a single sentence to start our email out. You can also move these to a PS line at the end of your email if you want. Doing this actually helps with your email deliverability. That's a topic for a different video. You can check out after this video in the description some my other content that'll explain all that. But let's read through this. So personalization, say you're prospecting me, selling me, business, unique business funding. Patrick, been following your insane value about cold email in your LinkedIn posts. Keep up the great content. So if you do just literally a split second look at my LinkedIn profile or even the YouTube channel, you know that I talk about cold email all the time. This is super easy. This takes 5 minutes per lead to do research. It's not hard. But the key part here is not just writing this personalized intro line, it's also writing this subject line. So if you want to get your emails opened, the first thing you need to do, really, aside from deliverability, aside from building really gnarly lists, is you need to make sure that your subject line is kick-ass. Okay? And you can't use subject lines like quick question, company times company, these repeatable formulas, right? Everybody and their dog is used to seeing these and they can smell a sales email from a mile away. Okay. But this is going to actually mean if you email me and you say insane cold email, it's going to capture my attention in my inbox above probably most of the other emails, unless it's, a co-founder or something reaching out to me. Of course, that's going to take priority. But as I'm scanning, this is going to be the first thing. Now, if I happen to be on my phone, right, and even on desktop, which is where I look at, pretty good amount of my emails, to be honest, you're going to have a preview text. So that text that you see before you open the email is going to be that first line. All right. So the first consideration for a prospect, how to get it opened, right, is going to be the subject line. And also that intro line is going to matter. If they see that it's an automated, formulated email, you're not going to get it opened. Okay. So this subject line and our intro line make a huge impact on getting your emails open. Now, to get your emails read, also that intro line plays a big, big factor in that, because once they've opened it, you're just going to look at the email. Your prospects are going to look at the email and they're going to say, all right, is this worth emailing or reading, right? And that intro line is going to capture attention, but they're going to just overall scan your email. And if it looks like a sea of words and it's way too much text to read, and there's a lot of paragraphs and a lot of sentences, they're not going to read it. Okay. So if you look at the overall structure of this email, we've got short, concise sentences. All right. This email example, for instance, is only 46 words. It takes 5 minutes per lead. Okay. Now let's go through the rest of the email. All right. That's how to get our emails opened, right, and read. Replies come a little bit later. So hang tight with me as I get through the rest of this. But our problem, we're going to introduce a problem after our personalization, which, by the way, make sure you avoid the use of the word I in your emails. All right. Use some power words, insane, value, keep up the great content, stuff like that. Problem with limited access to capital, as you know, startups have a high failure rate. That is a problem that's going to fairly resonate with me as a bootstrap SaaS founder, right? So we've got limited access to capital. We rely on our own selves for our funding, pretty much for me and any sales we do, right? Now, remember when I said previously that the secret sauce is personalization, relevance, and intent. So this is a pretty good email, but it's not the best. So hang tight, right? We're going to get to the best email that we can do. All right, then we're going to just switch right to our solution. Fundco gives startups like Nova, Line.ai, and Amply access to capital without dilution or loans. Super, super simple solution. Okay, just a few words. You don't need to do anything crazy, because keep in mind that all we're trying to do is get a reply from people. At least at this stage, actually, we're wanting to get people to consider reading the whole thing. All right, in order to get a reply. So keeping it short and concise like this keeps the consideration. We want to do micro commitments with our prospects. Call to action, worth a chat. Don't insert links. That's a different training. Don't insert links. Don't ask them if they can meet for 15 minutes next Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m., right? That's assumptive. We don't want to do that. Okay. So this is a pretty good email, probably more effort, more work than you're probably used to, but this gets about 2.5 to 5% booking rate. So you're probably thinking, well, Pat, you said 7 to 10%. We're getting to it. Hey, if you're loving the content and you're getting lots of value, I'd love if you'd like the video and comment below. We answer and reply to all comments. And if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button and get some of the best sales content on the entire internet. Now back to the video. The next key is to stack relevance. So you can do just personalized emails like that, and you can fairly automate that with doing pretty minimal effort. But if you want to take it to the next level, you go to relevance. And relevance starts with your list building. How relevant is the list, and where did you get the list? All right, so you need to think about, and you can watch my, my lead list building video and all that kind of stuff that'll help you out. But we need to make sure we're targeting the right prospects with the right message. Okay, the framework looks very much the same as before, except we're talking about relevant problems, relevant solutions. So let's look at it. All right. So I'm going to move this over. Our subject line is the same because until we get to intent, there's not a lot more that we can kind of change with the subject line or the personalization, right? So our subject line or personalization all pretty much stay the same. Where it changes is the relevant problem. So if you're going another level deep on your research on your prospect with your A-list, which you should because they're your highest value prospects, right? So you can invest this time into doing this. We're going to bring up a relevant problem to them. So what's that sound like? In this case, it'd be, noticed you haven't raised capital, which has to be stressful and risky being bootstrapped. Okay, so it's relevant. If you're prospecting me, you could approach me and just say something about startups or software, right? It's not as relevant as saying, I noticed you haven't raised capital yet. There's a difference there because it's one level deeper in terms of research and what you actually know about me. This can still be fairly automated depending on who you're prospecting. All right. If you're prospecting a software founder, for instance, there's a lot of information about capital and all that kind of stuff. You're probably not selling this type of solution. So you might have to go one level deeper in their LinkedIn profile, on their website, their YouTube, their Twitter. You might need to go one level deeper. Okay. But you can usually find pretty good nuggets of information with people out there on their social profiles. If you can't, go to their website and look at like the about me and like how we got started and all that kind of stuff. Usually there's a lot of gold on people out there. Now, relevant solution sounds pretty much just like the last version, okay? Because we've led with a relevant problem. And the relevancy of this one is that, notice how you haven't raised capital. So you need to take this, apply it to your use case with your prospects. But you can see the difference when you stack these two up against each other. With limited capital, access to capital, as you know, startups have a high failure rate. Fairly generic, okay? This is upping it to the next level. And just doing this one subtle little change can about double your booking rates. So our emails are still short. It takes about 10 minutes per lead, okay? And we can get about a 5 to 7.5% booking rate, depending on how good your subject lines are, your list building, your personalization, all this kind of stuff matters. Okay, but just look at the difference between our problems. So the problem here, notice you haven't raised capital versus with limited access to capital, quite a big difference, right? We're still not to that like 7 to 10% booking rate range though. Okay, so that's where intent comes in. Intent with our prospects is really based on the topic of interest that our prospects have, or a problem that they have in that moment, or at the right time, or around the right time. Okay, so this takes a little bit of an art. It takes next level research. So we're getting a third level deep. The framework on the email is almost the exact same again, except we're using intent-based personalization with that relevant problem and relevant solution. All right, so let's get into it. So here's what this looks like. Let me just get rid of these on the screen. So now our subject lines changed and our intro lines changed based on intent-based personalization. Okay, so let's read our intro line first because this subject line is always written on the basis of our personalized intro line. So Patrick, saw your post about not relying on VCs to pave your financial future. Much respect. Okay, so this is something that's relevant and intent-based because they actually saw something that mattered to me. Okay, that's what intent really means, is does it matter to your prospect or not? This is a big difference than the previous versions. And this is how we get insane reply rates and insane booking rates ultimately. Okay. So think about this and how you can do that with your prospects, but it really case by case scenario, it's going to be different for each prospect. Now that subject line, no VCs allowed. So in a post mine, for instance, you might see when you do research on me that we haven't raised outside venture capital. I'm the sole financier of the business, and I've got information out there about that. And I've even put out there that like I don't want VCs, I just want strategic partners. If anyone invests in Upticks, I only want strategic partners. We'd rather stay bootstrap. But this subject line is going to aid in the fact or in the ability to get your email opened. No VCs allowed. Getting an email like that, is going to stand out to me. Now, if I wrote something about no VCs allowed 12 months ago, it's not as intent based. So you want to try to do something that's more recent, okay, for our intent base. Relevant problem. Now, because we know that information, right? This intent-based personalization, we actually have a more relevant problem we can approach. So as you're not relying on VCs, instead of before where it was more generic, notice you haven't raised capital is slightly different than saying, as you're not relying on VCs, it's actually a different angle. Okay, and think about these as you approach your prospect. Running out of capital has to be a real concern as a bootstrap SaaS. So now, because we've gone a few levels deeper in our research, right, and we found something that's more intent based, we can actually customize our problem statement even further. Our solution can remain the same pretty much. You can customize this slightly, but at this point, as long as you have a really good solution statement, the rest of the email speaks for itself. Okay. Our call to action basically stays the same. Worth a chat. All right. Still a short email. It does take more effort. Okay. It might even take more than this, but do the math. If the prospects are worth investing this kind of time with, then invest the kind of time with, as long as you're still making money. This framework is much better than just doing fully automated emails that you don't get really great results. And this is how we get 7.5 to 10% booking rates. So now you're probably thinking, Patrick, this is a ton of effort, okay? But that's the point. Your prospects are smart. People know that you're using automation, right? Your prospects get cold email a ton. And doing this level brings you up way higher in terms of relevancy and consideration. We really just want people to consider talking to us. So we just want them to consider replying to us. And doing these things sets you apart from 99.99% of people doing cold emails. And if you want, something proof to back that up, just go look at your spam inbox. Okay, go look at the next cold email that you look at. All right. If you're smelling that automation from a mile away, your prospects are too, and they're not getting the results that they could be if they followed a framework like this. So that's everything I have for you today. Now, if you want to level up your sales outreach, fill up your calendar, then sign up for a free trial of Upticks, book a call with us, and we'll help you implement all of these crazy cold outreach strategies and have you winning customers in no time. Until next time, again, my name is Patrick Spielman, founder at Upticks, and we'll see you soon.